What up, sports fans? Waxon Wednesday, Jake Waxman, Tom Level, two guys talk sports. Let's get things rolling, shall we? Starting with the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Alright, both series 3-1 right now. Still a lot of hockey to play with. Looking into what's going on between the Panthers and the Hurricanes. Okay, gotta give the Hurricanes a lot of props. They look dead in the water. They're looking like a Cat Zero storm right now. Just no energy, no pulse. I mean, but the Florida Panthers were having it their way in the first three games. But credit where credit is due. The Hurricanes found a way. They more than just found a way in Game 4. They actually controlled the pace of that game. They played it on their own terms. And you know what? Frederik Andersen stepped up big time for the Hurricanes. And thanks to that and with enough goal scoring, that series was going to 5 games. That was looking like for sure a sweep for the Florida Panthers. But you know what? This happens sometimes. Sometimes you just hit a roadblock in a game that you should win, and you don't end up winning it. Of course, the Hurricanes won 3-0. Two of the goals were empty net goals. But if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, all right, you've staved off elimination for a game. Now you got to stave it off again and force a game 6. Not going to be an easy thing because this Florida Panthers team, they're ferocious on defense and offense. If they get control of the game, then series over. At least in terms of this series. So Carolina's got to find a way to control the game. Just what they did in Game 4, that's what Carolina needs to do again for the next game and beyond. Presuming, of course, they force a game 6. So control the pace, all right? No matter how many goals you score. Force Florida to play your game. This is the Hurricanes' chance to build. So they got a little bit of momentum. Now they can build some more. They got a big opportunity to do that. But what they did against Florida in Game 4, they need more of in Game 5. Because otherwise, Florida's going to end this series pretty quickly. So we'll see if the Hurricanes got more fuel in the tank, or at least rise up in category from a category 1 to a category 5 going forward. So a lot of hockey to be determined. So that series, hey, it's not over till it's over. And you know what? It was looking bad for the Hurricanes, but you know what? They found a way to win Game 4. The things they did now in Game 4, they got to do more of in Game 5 if they want to keep this series going and find a way to propel a comeback and shock the Florida Panthers, who run. As far as I know, I still think the Panthers win. Sadly, I still think the Panthers are going to win tonight, but I could be wrong. We're going to find out. Speaking of the conference finals, so now the other series is also 3-1 in favor of Edmonton. Okay. Edmonton's great. Don't get me wrong. But right now, I thought that this was going to be a much closer series than what it looks like. Right now, the Oilers, that well-oiled machine, is in complete control of this series as things stand right now. The only reason that this series did not end in a sweep for the Oilers is just because they blew that big-time lead in the third period of Game 1. And the Stars had a nice rally. Showed a lot of fireworks in the third period of that first game. But, oh boy, since that third period... But that period, sadly, that third period in Game 1 was the best so far for Dallas. Other than that, they've looked completely flat. I think they've only scored two goals in the last 2 games, or last 3 games. And Dallas's offense right now they've sputtered. They've got no energy. And a lot of that is also Stuart Skinner. All right, he started the series slow, just like the one against the Kings, but you know what? He's gained traction. You know what? He's recorded, I think, at least 3 shutouts in this year's NHL playoffs. He's playing some of his best hockey right now. And the Stars are having trouble getting pucks past him because he's laser focused and he's determined not to lose that crease again. And that's great news if you're an Oilers fan, because with Stuart Skinner stepping his efforts up, combined with the depth showing up for the Oilers as opposed to the Stars. I thought the Stars' depth might be a little too much for the Oilers, but so far the Oilers' depth is proving to be too much for the Dallas Stars. So, for the record, I don't think this series is over yet. I think Dallas is too good of a team to lose in 5 games. But they got to find something. You know, they got to find that offense again at home tomorrow night, Game 5 in Dallas. So I still think the series is going to go to 7 games. I think Dallas is going to push as hard as they can. But I'm still... Now I'm conflicted. I did say Dallas in 7. I guess I'll still stand by that. But my prediction's not looking so hot right now. But I will stand by this. The winner of this series, I think, is going to win the Stanley Cup. And Edmonton right now is in complete control of this series. With the depth showing up, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl doing what they do best. Stuart Skinner playing out of his mind right now. And as I mentioned, depth and more depth for the Oilers. With that, the Oilers are a well-oiled machine right now. And right now, they've got the Dallas Stars in an oil slick. No pun intended. Okay, fine, pun intended. But still, both series, you know, a lot of twists and turns still to the side. And you know what? It's not over until somebody wins 4 games. So we're going to find out. Either the Panthers are going to win 4 games really quickly, or the Hurricanes are going to force 7 games. Or we might see us, you know, here's the thing. The Oilers could have swept the Stars. I don't think that's going to happen, and I think the Stars are going to find some energy. So I think that series is still going to 7, but is it going to... Or will the Oilers finish it off early? We're going to find out. Or can Dallas's depth and coaching find a way to bring the star power back and get things rolling in that series before it's too late? We're going to find out. And then there's the other postseason. I've been talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Both series are interesting, but I gotta confess, I don't watch the NBA playoffs a lot, but I have been watching the Indiana Pacers. Okay. First of all, I want to start before I get into the Pacers. I want to start by saying this: in the Western Conference Finals between the Timberwolves of Minnesota and the Oklahoma City Thunder, right now, the Thunder lead the Wolves 3-1 and are looking to finish that series off. And it would not surprise me to see OKC in the NBA Finals. So I just want to cover that real quick. But the Indiana Pacers, wow! I just gotta say, there is a level to their game. Like, they play with such ferocity. They attack at all costs. Some games it works, and then there's a few where it doesn't work, such as Game 3 against the Knicks on the day of Pacers and Racers. They fell short against the Knicks. Knicks came back from a 20-point deficit. But I will say, this Indiana Pacers team, not only are they good, they're resilient when they need to be. This is a team that has a short memory of the bad games. So, yeah, they had a bad game. They blew a pretty big lead against the New York Knicks in Game 3, but you know what? Nice response by the Indiana Pacers in Game 4. They ended up winning by a score, I think 131 to 124, I believe it was. I could be wrong. But it was a really high scoring game. Now, here's the problem I have with the NBA playoffs, of course, is just these high scores, all right? Not a whole lot of defense. Defense is another reason why I prefer college hoops to the NBA, but the Pacers are making things interesting, all right? They've been a lot of fun to watch. This team, led by, no, who else? Tyrese Halliburton, who's just absolutely smashing the Knicks right now. He had 32 points in Game 4. And now the New York Knicks, who knocked off the defending champion Boston Celtics, they find themselves in the 3-1 hole. And Indiana has them right where they want them. And Game 5, which is at Madison Square Garden, you would think the Knicks have home court advantage. But here's the thing. This Indiana Pacers team, they have been thriving on the road this year. So that's not a good sign for New York. So New York is going to have to figure out how to reverse the trend and try to win on home court. But the Pacers right now, they play with such ferocity. They attack at all costs. They're taking risks all the way. So, and like I said, they have some spurts, some games where things don't always go right, where they might play 3 great quarters and then 1 bad quarter. But for the most part, this team plays a full game. They play a complete game, and they don't let up on the ferocity from start to finish. And Halliburton right now is balling out. I like what I'm seeing from this Indiana team. Of course, not over till someone wins 4 games, but the New York Knicks right now, they got a lot of work ahead of them. And they got to respond quickly because this Pacers team, no, they look tough to beat. They could win it all. We'll find out, though. But Pacers, man, like, they're looking to... they've won a couple of... they were in a different league and won 3 championships in that league, but they're officially, this year, they're looking for that first NBA title. They're looking for it. And they've got a great shot at getting it, as long as Halliburton keeps balling out and the Pacers keep on playing with the pace and ferocity that they've been playing all NBA playoffs long. And the thing is, what makes the Pacers so lethal this postseason, they get the job done on the road. Like, they go on the road and they win on the road. Like, they not only do they know how to steal games on the road, but they can just flat out dictate the terms of the pace on someone else's home court. That's what makes this Pacers team so dangerous and so good. I mean, here's the thing. And New York had a chance to cut off the water in Game 1, but, you know, we saw that what Halliburton did, making that sign. I mean, the Pacers, the Knicks blew that game, and since then, that's allowed Indiana to dictate the terms of the pace for this whole series so far. We'll see if New York can rally. But really interesting times and really interesting series in the NBA playoffs. And finally, the checker flag has waved on another Indianapolis 500. And I just got to say, okay, this year's Indy 500 was one of the most insane Indy 500s I think I've ever seen. There is so much to talk. Maybe too much to talk about. But here's the thing. The race itself was crazy. I mean, we didn't even get the green flag, and we got guys already... I feel bad for Scott McLaughlin to not even get a lap into the Indy 500 because you wrecked on the pace laps. Feel bad for that guy. Gives it everything he has. Good driver class act. Sucks to see someone like him crash on the first lap. And you know what? I will say this. They say this track chooses its winners, and you know what? That is so true from what I learned watching all these Indy 500s. The track truly does choose its winners. And this season, it was definitely choosing its winner. I mean, early on you had Marco Andretti wrecking. And it was excuse me, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. But here's the thing. This year's Indy 500, holy cow. This race was choosing its winners through pure chaos and pure freaking fire. And that is... Okay, fine. I say no pun intended, but maybe that was a pun intended. But Alexander Rossi, he and his team, they had a great strategy that would have put him up front at the end of this Indy 500. Only problem is he didn't make the full 500 miles. The race car, actually, from what I heard, the drive shaft overheated on his car. And when they were changing the tires, full inferno. Holy cow. Took him out of the race. I mean, we had Marco Andretti wrecking. He's still looking for his first Indy 500. Then you had other guys like Connor Daly. And you had all these cautions coming out at intricate times, leading to varying strategies. And you had guys like Connor Daly and even Ryan Hunter-Reay up in front. I mean, Connor Daly had a great chance to win, but unfortunately, his tires just wore out. I don't know if he lost some handling or grip in his car, but the tires wore out faster than a lot of other competitors out there, and that took him out of the race. He had to pit earlier than he wanted to. And you got Ryan Hunter-Reay, the 2014 Indy 500. He was looking for his second, was on a strategy that put him up front and put him in a great spot. He ends up stalling the car on pit road, and that takes him out of the race. And paving the way for other guys. David Malukas, all right? Or Little David, as we call him. I got a feeling he's going to win one of these Indy 500s someday. Put himself in a great position. Ended up on the podium for the Indy 500. And then, first of all, and we'll get to you had absolute chaos on the racetrack. actually, you had chaos both on the racetrack and chaos in post race. Like, not only is this going to be one of the craziest Indy 500s, it's also one of the most controversial. First of all, here's something with no controversy. Congrats to Alex Palou on his first Indy 500 win. Well deserved. I know he's won a lot of, that's his 5th win in the IndyCar series this year. And I know a lot of people are like, Palou again. I wasn't like that. I'm like, okay, this is his first Indy 500. Kudos to him. He deserves it. You know what? Palou clearly was chosen by Indianapolis Motor Speedway to win this race. Not through any controversies or anything. Like, he put himself in a position to win the race, you know? He's IndyCar's best driver as of right now. And for a reason. He went out there and proved it. Put himself in a great position and was rewarded with his first Indianapolis 500 win. He's rewarded, gets to taste the milk in victory lane and lift the trophy for the Borg Warner Trophy, which is the trophy given out to the winner of the Indianapolis 500 every year. And his face will go on it. That's for sure. And he beat out a lot of guys, including an Indy 500 winner by the name of Marcus Ericsson. Marcus Ericsson put himself in a great position. You know, great strategy. He was right there, ready to take back what he felt was taken from him, which I make the case probably was due to IndyCar officiating in 2023. And had a chance to get that second Indy 500, take back one that was lost from him, but he gave Alex Palou a little too much room to make the pass with 14 to go, and Palou took the opportunity, surged ahead, and never looked back. Now so Marcus Ericsson ended up runner-up yet again, or did he? Well, not quite according to IndyCar, because if you guys know, this year's Indy 500 is surrounded by all sorts of controversy. A lot of it with Team Penske and the 2 and the 12 car failing inspection due to the back wings due to the areas around the back wing, which were found to be not within IndyCar specifications. I don't know like 100% the technical term. Well, guess what? After this year's Indy 500, 3 cars failed inspection. 2 of them belonging to Andretti Autosport, and one of those cars, Marcus Ericsson, who finished runner-up. So I'll talk about that. First, you just fall short of the Indy 500, and then you find out later, your race car failed inspection. And both he and Kyle Kirkwood of Andretti Autosport, along with Callum Ilott of Primo Racing, failed inspection. Now, I can't remember all the reasons why. I do remember that the 28 and the 27 for Andretti Autosport failed inspection for the same reason, while Callum Ilott, I heard it was a front wing issue that IndyCar didn't like. So those cars were all disqualified. Well, maybe not entirely disqualified. They were moved to the back of the grid. So they finished 31st, 32nd, and 33rd on a technicality because, hey, got to play by the rules. But you know what they say? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But you get caught, and there goes all your hard work. So, a lot of controversy. So, going into Detroit this upcoming weekend, IndyCar's got a lot to think about for next year's Indy 500. And they got a lot to I think it's high time that the series comes up with a new race car. Like, if you're IndyCar, it's high time that you come up with a new race car and one that you can tinker with to make sure that teams kind of understand how to set up properly to your liking, if you're the IndyCar series. So now, again, feel bad for drivers like Marcus Ericsson, Alexander Rossi, Scott McLaughlin, and trying to think who. Scott McLaughlin. And also Joseph Newgarden. I feel kind of bad. He was round through the field and looked to be poised for the three-peat. And then something happened on pit road that took him out of the race. Something broke. I don't know if something broke on the race car, but you know what you say? This track chooses its winners. So, and it just wasn't Newgarden's day. And, you know, things like that happen. It goes to show how many things have to go right for you to win the Indy 500. If something breaks on your car, one thing going wrong and you're out of the race, like something breaking on your car. Joseph Newgarden had something go wrong on a pit stop. Ryan Hunter-Reay, I felt bad for him because he stalled it on pit road. You had Connor Daly, whose tires just didn't last. Alexander Rossi, oh man, poor Rossi can't catch a break. Freaking drivetrain issue, overheating drivetrain. And then you got Scott McLaughlin, who wrecked on the first lap. So I feel bad for all those guys. Yes, even Joseph Dugan, despite the cheat, because having that rare shot to 3P and it's thwarted by something that happens on pit road. So in a way, I felt bad for Joseph Newgarden in that sense. Although we all want a different winner, and admittedly, I wanted a different winner too. Now, with all that being said, yeah, there was a lot of controversy surrounding this year's Indy 500. So many controversies surrounding this year's Indy 500. So much insanity, so much madness and mayhem. But to think this year's Indy 500 was spared from what could have been the worst controversy in the history of the Indianapolis 500. To think if Marcus Ericsson had held on to win the Indy 5, if Marcus Ericsson had gone on to win the Indy 500, this could, and I stand, and if I'm wrong, correct me, because I don't think we've ever stripped the race winner before of his Indy 500 winning title. But to think that Marcus Ericsson could have gone down as the first Indianapolis 500 winner to be stripped of his Indy 500 winning title, had he won this race, presuming like all the other events happened. So had he won this race, car fails inspection, very likely IndyCar strips him of his Indianapolis 500 win and hands it off to the second place guy, which very likely would have been Alex Palou. So Palou would have won his first Indy 500 on a controversy or on a technicality. Oh God, my brain cannot compute that. And quite honestly, look, I felt bad for Marcus Ericsson, but I also will say this. IndyCar, along with Marcus Ericsson and the Indianapolis 500, was spared from a very terrible fate, in my opinion. A very terrible controversy that was avoided. That would have been the worst. I just cannot imagine having someone win the Indy 500 and then hours later, you find out your car's failed inspection and your Indian, and you know what? Kiss goodbye your Indianapolis 500 title because your car was found not to be within the rules or the legal rules of IndyCar racing. So this could have been a lot worse. That's what I'm pointing at. Because had we had the race-winning car fail inspection, oh boy, a whole new can of worms opened. So, and if you're Marcus Ericsson, I'm sure, some will say, him finishing second and then his car failing inspection and him being stripped of his second place finish, that's they could say that's adding salt into the wounds or adding insult to injury, but you know what? If I'm an IndyCar driver, I would rather finish second and fail inspection than win the Indianapolis 500, fail inspection, and be stripped of my title as an Indianapolis 500 winner. And I'm sure, and I can't speak for Marcus Ericsson on this, okay? But if I'm an IndyCar driver, if I'm going to fail inspection, I'd rather not win the race then. Because considering that IndyCar can take away race wins now, and they will do that, I'd rather win it the clean way, all right? And props to Alex Palou and his number 10 Chip Ganassi racing team. They won this race, and they won it clean. The car did not fail inspection as far as we know. So, there's that. Whoo! What an Indianapolis 500. Cannot wait till May. Is it May of 2026 already? Can't wait. But for now, we finally can wave the checker flag on the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. An absolute chaotic and controversial race. All right, on to this day in sports history. On this day, the 28th of May, 2006, another Indianapolis 500. So on this day in 2006, Sam Hornish Jr. wins the pole position and records and the record 14th Indy 500 win for Penske Racing. And in a battle with Marco Andretti, Hornish Jr. edges out Marco Andretti at the line by .0635 seconds. And at the time, this was the second closest finish in Indy 500 history. Crazy stuff. Wherever Sam Hornish is, I hope he's doing well right now. And wishing the best for Marco Andretti as well. All right, sports fans, that's all I got for this week's Waxon Wednesday. Any questions, comments, leave below. And I'll see you guys for the Friday round table. Jake Waxman from Two Guys Talk Sports signing off.